Today, the guru will show you how to remove the valves and inspect the cylinder walls, and near the end of this episode, he shows you a simple way to check the bottom end of a Quincy 325 for loose wrist pins. Now here's the compressor guru.
Welcome back to the compressor guru. We have a 325 record change about 100. We bought a couple compressors from a customer and we bought them at the right price, but when he gave me the details of the history of them, this one's already sold as long as it's working. So what we're going to do is do a quick inspection of the valves. We're going to pop the head off and we're going to check the cylinders. I'm not worried about the bottom end. We are going to change the oil. We're going to do that off camera. It's an oil change. But what we will do with the oil change is when we drop the oil out, we'll take a close-up of the oil coming out and we'll be looking for flakes or metal or anything. I don't think we're going to have that because this is a Quincy pressure-fed QR Series 325, great machine. Actually, I wouldn't be totally scared to sell it as is, but my name goes out on these compressors, and click Google reviews for me and you're going to see that we take care of our customers. So this is part of Bud being paranoid going through this. So this is basically an inspection and repair if necessary. But we're going to inspect the valves, we're going to show you how to test them, we're going to pop each valve apart and show you the wear on the disc. If there's too much wear, we're going to replace the disc and spring anyway. But we're going to walk you through that in this episode. So I already have all my tools out, ready to go to work. We need a 1/2-inch wrench. And I grabbed the wrong one, I got two of them out. 1/2-inch wrench, we're taking our lines off. This is a L, 325L, meaning it is a loadless start. It is not designed for constant run. And that being said, it only has one head unloader and it's on the high pressure side. So we're going to take that loose. So it's too tight for the Nipex pliers. They really are good pliers. So we're down to our trusty chain wrench. And that one was pretty tight. That's why we make sure we have the right tools. Speaking of tools, I will embarrass myself in advance. My homemade spanner wrench for the tool under this. I lost part of it. So I'm going to have to make a new one. We might make an episode on that. You're going to go, gee, bud, that's so simple. You really need to do that in an episode? Okay.
What was that?
So this is a part number 7532X. And it looks in good condition. It looks maybe a little short. We might replace that. I'll check it against the new one. We will put a new diaphragm in the top of this. And we got to get this loose before we take these 4 bolts loose. It is too difficult to do. We're going to take 2 bolts out so we have room to work. We get the screwdriver in there crossways. Oh my! I really hope the whole thing's not going to be this tight. This is not how this was designed to work, but we're going to make it work this way today. So folks, what this is, it was an old socket that I had. It was a perfectly good socket. But what happened was I ran into too many of these that were this tight. So I found a socket that would fit down inside the hole, and I put a piece of key stock and I JB welded it in there. Well, I think you can guess what happened. I lost a piece of key stock. There we go. So that's now loose, or at least turnable. May not be loose, but this is the valve adjustment for the high pressure discharge or suction valve. And if you don't take this loose before you pull the valve plate off, can you imagine trying to get something that tight out in the vise? So now we're going to take the other two bolts out of that. We're going to take that suction valve out. Don't you love that sound? Yeah. And that's our valve plate. This is what the valve plate adjusts against. Here is a washer that goes against these pins in here.
Okay.
These are unloader pins. And I can see from the top of them, they're pretty worn. We will replace those and the springs. So let me get the valve out of there.
You're right, I was.
This is just a pair of ring expanders for putting piston rings on pistons. Going right down in that little center hole, squeeze, and out it came. It's that easy. We have 3 of these in each valve, and we're going to replace them. There's some signs of rust and wear, and these will be junk. We will be going to the vise in a few minutes to knock these valves apart. But we're going to take and we're going to loosen the lock nut on the valve adjustment. This is the suction side of the low pressure. These all look alike, these all adjust alike from now on. And looks like somebody was in this recently. That's a new looking gasket. Here's the valve bumper. Well, not the bumper, but here's the valve spacer that the valve adjustment adjusts against. And we're going to reach in here with our ring pliers, wherever they're at. And out it comes. They're that easy. This valve is not as rusty and does not look in as bad a shape as the high pressure side did. And you notice there's no pins in this because this valve does not get unloaded. This is an L model, only the high pressure suction side gets unloaded. We're going to pop the 2 exhaust valves out. What are we going to do before we do it, Val?
Hit it with a hammer.
No. What did I just do?
Loosen them.
I'm breaking the lock nut loose on the adjustment.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm breaking the adjustment loose and backing it off a little bit. Oh, maybe. I didn't have my Wheaties this morning. There we go. And I'm not going to take that safety valve out. There's no reason to. Not for the things we're doing.
You don't have to check the safety valve?
No, it's okay. This safety valve protects the intercooler. And if your high-end, high-pressure valves are having an issue, this will start popping. It's because the low pressure is trying to do all the work. And what's the rule? We come apart with an impact wrench, but we
we
never go together. I think the camera wife could do this job soon.
We make sure we get the right tool on and put them back in.
That's right. So, I'd say somebody was in this recently.
Well, you're picking them up and looking at them and
Oh,
not
I'm
showing
sorry.
the camera. Oh,
It looks like these are fairly new gaskets. It looks like somebody was in this recently.
but there's rust in the top of that.
Yeah, there is.
How about that other one you just put in?
It was really nice.
Oh, wait a minute. Toy. I see.
Okay. Our valve adjustments, same thing as, whoop, we got a tight one. Hey, it's stuck to the valve.
Yuck.
Yeah, that's okay. We will get her loose. That's all it took. Just tapped it apart. This kind of rust and sometimes oil residue is not unusual. I'll tell you what is really nice about this, as we're doing this, is that we don't have built-up carbon, which would be a sign that the rings are going. We're going to check the rings. We're going to check the cylinder walls. But the fact that this is only rust and not carbon is a good thing for this compressor.
Wow, that one looks brand new.
Yeah, the low pressure side looks nice and clean.
Huh.
Okay, we will be checking those next. But we're going to do the rest of the teardown before we have to start moving cameras. This is a breather line. It comes up from the crankcase. We're going to take it off. And I'm only going to loosen the other side so I can swing it down around. Oh, it's only got a nut on one side. And now I have to loosen, I actually pre-loosened this one. I'm going to loosen the intercoolers. Well, intercooler, there's only one. And I'm going to step in front and do the other one, Bill.
Go ahead.
Well, can I get in front of you? Okay. And just take that one off. Okay, the intercooler is loose, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the 6 bolts out that hold the head on, and this head will all come off. And I was told by the previous owner that this had blown a head gasket and they had replaced it. And in the process of making sure they did it right, what we're also doing is we're going to take a look at the cylinder walls when we have her open. So back to the impact wrench. We're right here. Notice these head bolts are 12 point. They're 1/2 inch, 12 point going down through the top.
Maybe I could videotape the top of one of those to see the 12 points. Hold still. There, see all the 12 points? Okay.
And the show project farm, which I very much enjoyed, recently did a what's best for torque, open end, 6 point or 12 point, or spline. It was a really good episode. And you can't get a 6 point on these bolts. I'm not going down that road. So here we go. And the head's loose. And let's take a good look. I would say they fixed the head gasket right. It looks good. No reason we needed to pull it to do anything except ease my mind. Okay, so looking in there, I can still see the hash marks. I can see a bit of rust stain, but there is no ring marks in this. Hash marks from the home when it was new are still in there, and there is no evidence of oil bypassing. I trust the high pressure side.
Now shine the light in it without being down in there. Thank you. Okay.
Now the low pressure side, I see marks. I can't feel the marks. Those marks are cosmetic. I can still see the hone marks. And once again, there is no evidence of oil bypassing. I know you can't feel it. You can see me doing this.
I actually can't even see it because I'm on the wrong side.
I can do it here. I know you
Is
keep,
it there?
Well, there's marks all over this.
Okay, wait a minute. Try to find it again.
You got ring marks, and I know you can't feel. You got ring marks here, and I know you can't feel it because I can't feel them either. Mm-hmm. If there was anything I could feel, we'd be doing a ring job. Going all the way around that, this is like cosmetic. And there's no ridge at the top on either piston. Now we're going to do one more thing while we're inspecting the bottom end before we drop the oil out. You can occasionally hear a wrist pin, either at the top or the bottom of the cycle. So on this high pressure, it's perfectly smooth, there's no looseness. So I'm not worried about the wrist pin, and by the way, it rolls really nice. There's no noise in that crank. And if we have a loose wrist pin here, when you are to this point, you can actually feel it. If you have a loose wrist pin, when it goes from the top of the stroke back down, you'll actually be able to feel it by touching the piston and moving the wheel. You'll feel a difference. And this machine is tight on the bottom end. Now we're off to test the valves, and we're going to disassemble the valves too. But we want to see if they were working. I believe they were working. This machine was running, operating when it came out. But I wanted to test the valves, then we're going to show you how to inspect the valves. Even though the valves may test good, we may have a worn valve disc. And if we have a worn valve disc, we're simply going to replace it. Because this machine is sold, and we want to make sure it's right and lasts a good long time. Off to the test bench.
In the next episode, the guru will show you how to tear down, inspect, and rebuild the valves for this Quincy 325. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you won't miss the next episode of The Compressor Guru. God bless you. Bye now.